Free call from
Gerald.
an offender at the Jefferson City Correctional Center.
This call is from a correctional facility and may be monitored and recorded.
To accept this free call, press 1. To refuse this free call, thank you for using Securus. You may start the conversation now.
Greetings to everybody. To everybody, greetings. Today is Wednesday, December 29, 2022. The time is now 8:45. I had something I wanted to share with the world. It's important that I share it with the world because my life depends on it. Here I sit 22 plus years later. That's 2 decades and 2 years later. Fighting for my life. For a gun that they say that I had. The prosecution say that I had. And I feel like the justice system failed me. This is a letter to the Missouri justice system. Prison reform, manifest injustice, faulty police tactics, inconsistent statements, broken honesty, lies under oath, witnesses not being able to testify, testimonies led how the prosecutors wanted them led, all that. Most of all, not getting a fair trial. The unjust in the Missouri justice system. Yeah, the unjust in the Missouri justice system. To get the conviction the prosecution wanted, they had to enhance my charges, and to do that, they first had to have someone that would change their story as to what happened. Then they would have to have it laid out like the prosecution wanted. That's why my gun charge that I had read like it did, when in fact I never had a gun, nor was I ever in possession of a gun, nor a weapon of any kind. But to get a stiffer sentence, the prosecutor charged me with first-degree robbery and armed criminal action, which by doing that secured a conviction of life plus 15. Yes, life plus 15. To the world, I'm pleading. Yeah, I'm pleading to the world. I, Gerald Johnson, never had a gun nor a weapon of any kind. The system, the Missouri justice system, failed a young black kid who they felt would just go away, being silent and never speak about how it was done. After the car accident, I climbed out my broken car window and took off running southbound on Truce. The police cruiser that was chasing me went around the accident because had they not, their police cruiser would have ran into the accident. I was involved in it well. So by the officers' cruisers going around the car accident, they tried cutting me off with their police cruiser by trying to block me off with their cruiser. So at that time, I turned around and started running northbound. Once I did that, I saw that it was a police officer that exited the police cruiser and started chasing me as well, which was the officer, James Regular, who was a passenger of the police cruiser. Let me just stop there for a moment, if I may. If I had a gun, a weapon, then why didn't the officer, James Regular, shoot me in the back? In fact, if I had a weapon, why didn't James Regular testify? Better yet, why wasn't he called to testify in my trial? That was a officer of the law who chased me, who was part of the accident that happened on that Sunday morning of March 4th, 2001, 2 decades ago. Why wasn't there anybody who saw that the prosecution made up a fabricated story, which the judge allowed to go past and letting the police officer a year later in trial testify? Officer Eric James Eberhardt, serial number 4624, saying under oath that I had a gun cuffed in the palm of my hand as I ran away from a car accident. But on the day of the event, when everything was clear to Officer Eric James Eberhardt, serial number 4624, he never, not once mentioned me, Gerald L. Johnson, of having a weapon of any kind, nor a gun. Nobody read Officer Eric James Eberhardt, serial number 4624 statement, nor looked at his videotape transcript, because Officer Eric James Eberhardt, serial number 4624, was recorded giving a verbal tape statement. So where did the gun come from? Officer Eric James Eberhardt, serial number 4624, who came a year later in trial and testified that I had a gun. Please tell me. Somebody please tell me. Officer James Scott Regular, serial number 4329, was the officer who exited the police cruiser and chased me. Officer James Scott Regular, serial number 4329, did a videotape statement and never mentioned a gun either on the date of the events took place. Nor was Officer James Scott Regular, serial number 4329, allowed to testify in my trial. Something is not right here. People and somebody is hiding something. But nobody even cared to look deep into that situation regarding a gun because the prosecution just wanted a conviction which they got without a gun and with a bunch of lies. Now let me ask you this, to whoever listening to this. If a gun is part of a crime scene, and if a gun is so humongous to say that Gerald Johnson had a gun, then why wasn't there ever a gun presented at trial? And why wasn't it on the day that it happened, March 4th, 2001, why did Officer Eric James Eberhardt and James Scott Regular, why did them two officers, why neither one of them ever mentioned a gun on that day that it happened? Now we talking about a young black kid here. We talking about somebody that they said jumped out of my car, ran up the street after the car accident, turned around and ran back northbound, cat a corner, ran across the street to some more people's car and took their car to light. Now understand me when I say this. Kate, Miss Cates, Shauna Cates, she said from day one all the way to trial a year later that I never had a gun. She was the driver of her car. All I did was open her door and sit down on her left leg. I never pushed her. I never tried to fight her or nothing. In fact, I never said not one word to her. And she said from day one, Gerald Johnson never had a gun. But here it is, her husband, the passenger. Now we talking about the passenger here. Just listen to this. The passenger is saying that I had a gun. But to corroborate his story, the police officer come back a year later and say Gerald Johnson had a gun. Now tell me what's faulty there. Now tell me about the manifest injustice, the unjust, the miscarriage of justice as far as how they lied on me on the stand under oath. This police officer, somebody of the law, somebody who's a servant, somebody who's supposed to protect. He got on the stand and told us to lie. And not only did he do that, I got it in black and white. I got his videotape transcript statements from the very day that it happened. So now it's time for me to expose everything. So yeah, everybody will be seeing this soon. You will be seeing this very soon. Because I'm going to put this out there. I'm going to expose the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department on how they treated me. James Regular, he never got to testify. James Scott Regular, serial number 4329. Anybody look him up. Ask him. On the day that it happened, he never mentioned a gun, and he the one that got out and chased me on foot. But because of the car accident, he stopped to check on the deceased person in the car that I had ran into and killed. Not meaning to kill that lady. I never meant to kill my victim. I'm being so honest. I never meant to get up that morning and get in a high-speed chase with the police and hit somebody and kill them. That wasn't my intent. But they gave me second-degree felony murder. And to give me second-degree felony murder, they gave me, because they had to give me the first-degree robbery in an armed criminal action, because after I wrecked, I jumped out my car and wrecked some more people's car, and they said that I carjacked them. The federal feds never come and charge me with no carjacking, but in my case, it got carjacking in there. Who does this? Who does this? This is the justice system doing this to me. And here it is 2 decades later. 2 decades and 2 years later. Here I sit behind a death fence in Jefferson City, Missouri Correctional Center, fighting for my freedom. I'm pleading to the world I never had a gun. And I'm begging somebody, I'm begging a lawyer, a private investigator, I'm begging somebody to please listen to me, to please take my case, look at my case and really comb through it. And you will see for yourself, you will see it. I never had a gun. But the crazy thing is, they wanted me to sign, they tried to silence me. They wanted me to be silent. They didn't want me to bring this back up. They didn't want me to talk about this again. Because I was young back then, I didn't know the law. I was dumb to the fact. But now I've been in prison so many years, that cell, that idle time sitting in that small cell, allow me to think. Allow me to get my mind together. Allow me to clear my mind, clear my thoughts. Allow me to learn how to read and understand what I'm reading and know what I'm reading. And I said from day one, I said it on the stand when I took the stand in my own defense at trial. I went to trial because I wasn't guilty of a gun. Yeah, they tried to offer me 20 years. They came with a plea. Kathleen D. Mahoney came with a plea. Kathleen D. Mahoney came with a plea of 20 years. She tried to give me 20 years.
This call is from a correctional facility and may be monitored and recorded.
Kathleen D. Mahoney came with a plea of 20 years. She offered me a plea of 20 years. John E. Price is my lawyer. He's disbarred now. They disbarred him from practicing law in the state of Missouri. Kathleen D. Mahoney came with 20 years. I turned it down, everybody. I turned it down because I didn't have no gun. I promise you I didn't have no gun. I wouldn't waste nobody's time with this. I did not have no gun. They lied about me having a gun. Shauna Cates. If anybody shot in the case, she'll tell you. This is the lady who was driving the car, whose car they said I took. This is a white woman. This white woman said Gerald Johnson never had a gun. I'm just asking somebody to please listen to me. I'm asking somebody to please take my case. Please look at my case. Please look through my whole case and you will see that I never had a gun. I just want a fair shot. I done did 20 plus years. I done did 20 plus years on this life plus 15-year sentence that I'm doing. I done did 20 plus years. I done did 2 decades and some change. I feel like I paid my debt to society, but I also feel like I was done wrong. I never meant to hurt anybody. I never meant to have that car wreck. I promised everybody in the world, and I never meant to hurt anybody. But they lied on me with a gun and enhanced my charges because they didn't want to give me involuntary manslaughter. If they give me involuntary manslaughter, they only carry a max of 7 years. They didn't want to give me that. So Kathleen D. Mahoney, she came in that courtroom and she did all this old horrific, all stretched out, far-fetched stuff, and John R. Gray, the judge, he let this stuff just go on. Then I have a lawyer that's so incompetent, he don't even know what he doing. I ain't knowing that, though. I ain't knowing that. I just want my freedom. I just want to fight for my freedom. I just want to go home to my kids and my grandbabies and my wife. That's my aim. That's my direction. I'm a role model in here. I'm a role model in prison. I teach classes. I do what I'm supposed to do. I changed my whole life around in here for me. Not for nobody else. I did it for me because I knew I had to. But I also tell the world, and I'm going to say this to the death of me, I take this to the grave with me. I never had a gun. And I never stopped fighting for my freedom. So to everyone, thank y'all for listening to me. Thank y'all for taking your time out to even view this, man. I don't want to waste nobody's time. I know it's a new year. The new year is coming in effect in a couple of days. Happy New Year's, everybody. God bless. And then please, somebody out there, please, a lawyer, private detective, somebody, please just look at my case. You will see it. Once you look through it, you will see it. It ain't even about the money. I wouldn't even want to sue these people. I just want to go home. I just want to go home to my family. I just want a fair shake. Listen, I got 2 decades in now. I got 2 decades in. I feel like I paid my debt to society. I just want to go home. I never had a gun. The gun charge they gave me is fake. That first degree robbery they gave me is fake. That armed criminal action they gave me is fake. And all you got to do is look through my case, read my case, and you will see that they lied on me, man. They fabricated some stuff, and they gave me this time. That's how they get this time out of me. I got 2 decades in now, though. 2 decades